Welcome to Parenting Successful Teens, the podcast that cuts through the overwhelm and stress of this phase and offers parents simple, practical, cognitive, science-based strategies for keeping their teens on track. Join Master Coach and real-life mom, Allie Irwin, to talk about real teens, real problems, and the skills it takes to raise successful adults.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to kick off this week with a pretty commonly held idea, and that is that parenting is hard. Sometimes they're harder than others, but people overall would say, like, especially now, there are just so many challenges going on for parents. I don't need to go into a detailed list on that, but I do think that maybe you would want to take a second right this minute and just think of something that's challenging you this week as you're listening to this episode, and kind of hold that in your mind as I work through today's topic. And I think that as you apply today's concept to that, see if you can give yourself some relief and some fresh insight to a challenge that you're having right now. So today's topic is the idea of clean pain versus dirty pain. And this idea comes from many, many, many sources, from the modern psychotherapy branch, ACT, which is acceptance and commitments therapy, which is therapy really focused on accepting thoughts and feelings without judgment. So the people who popularized ACT therapy definitely use that verbiage, clean pain versus dirty pain. But people like the Dalai Lama are talking about it using completely different language. The Dalai Lama describes it as pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. That's the same idea, but just he describes it using different words. And I point that out because I want you to know that this idea is ubiquitous. This teaching comes from so many different sources. And I see the same concept taught by many different people in different ways. So I think it's worth diving into today. What we're going to be diving into is the idea, how do we accept the inevitable pain of being a human parent, living in a human world and experiencing all the challenges that we're experiencing? How do we accept all that inevitable pain and at the same time reduce what the Dalai Lama describes as the optional pain of suffering? How do we accept what we can avoid, but yet avoid and not create any extra burden for ourselves? We do this by understanding the idea of clean pain versus dirty pain. So clean pain is the unavoidable part of difficult experiences. Dirty pain, and I'm going to give you a whole bunch of examples here, but I'm just going to start at the high-level description, and then I'm going to apply it to a bunch of different circumstances so you can really see which part is the clean pain that you can avoid and which part is the dirty pain, which we're going to create less of. So clean pain is the unavoidable part of difficult experiences. Dirty pain is the story that we tell ourselves about those experiences, about that pain, in order to mitigate it. We tell ourselves these stories in order to explain the pain, or avoid it, or minimize it, or control it, or stuff it down, or prevent it. It's all an effort to get away from the clean pain, which is actually unavoidable. Okay? Dirty pain isn't bad. It's that language is always kind of tricky because clean pain sounds, clean, and we like clean things, and dirty pain sounds bad, and, we don't like dirty. Well, I don't know if you like dirty things or not, but, generally that has kind of a moral connotation to it. And I don't want you to think of it in that way, because dirty pain isn't bad. It's just a normal human coping mechanism that our normal human brains use because we want to avoid pain, right? There's nothing wrong with dirty pain. It's just that it doesn't work. Okay. Like we do it to avoid pain. And in trying to avoid that pain, we actually end up making things worse. And the reason that we make things worse is because dirty pain is only a temporary solution. It's that story that we tell ourselves to explain the pain or minimize it or control it in some way. And it works for a second. And then we go back to experiencing the clean pain again. And then we have to tell ourselves the dirty pain. And why the dirty pain makes it worse is we lock into a cycle. So I hope that makes sense. You're feeling the clean pain, and then you tell yourself a story to try to control or avoid or prevent that pain from happening ever again. And it works for just a second, and then the clean pain comes back. And in order to make the clean pain go away, you bring the dirty pain back because just a second ago it worked, and our brains like to do what works. And so it goes back to the dirty pain, and you just lock in that cycle over and over and over, and it prolongs it. Okay, so the solution is to know when you're prolonging the clean pain with dirty pain. It's just the awareness of like, oh, I'm in dirty pain right now. And then you allow the clean pain, and then it processes and it goes away more quickly. Okay, so clean pain is actually pain that you want to experience as a human. It's just part of the human experience. And I will give you a quick example. If I cut my finger, clean pain cannot be physical sensations, or like I scrape my knee. I want to know, like if I'm scraping my knee on something, I want to experience that pain so that I stop scraping my knee, right? Like clean pain is useful. Dirty pain would come in, scraping the knee. Dirty pain would come in if I told myself a story of like, oh, I'm way too old to have been trying to skateboard. And so, true story, I've definitely fallen and scraped up my knees multiple times skateboarding. Dirty pain would be the story I tell myself, like, oh, I'm too old to learn this. And then dirty pain would be avoiding doing new things because I don't want to experience the clean pain of a scraped knee. So clean pain can be physical sensations. Clean pain can also be the emotions we feel when we lose someone. When my father passed away, I experienced a ton of clean pain. And I want to be the kind of person who feels grief when she loses someone that she loves. Dirty pain in that situation would be like if I had told myself like, oh, I should have spent more time together with him when he was alive. I should have appreciated him more. Okay, those stories fall into the dirty pain category because they're kind of a lie. Like I'm telling myself, oh, if I had appreciated him more, I wouldn't be in so much pain now. Can you see how that story that I created for myself is an effort to mitigate the pain that I'm feeling, as opposed to just accepting, that when you lose someone that you love, you are very likely going to experience pain. Okay, many people avoid taking risks in relationships and making new friendships. Sometimes I get nervous about asking a new friend to do something because after I ask them to do something, if they say no, I might experience a tiny twinge of the clean pain of rejection. But that clean pain I'm trying to manage with the dirty pain of not asking someone in the first place. Do you see again how that dirty pain is not useful? Not asking a friend to go for a walk with me this afternoon, a potential friend to go for a walk with me, is telling me like, oh, I can avoid the rejection by just not asking. But then it doesn't actually work because I end up feeling lonely and like I don't have enough friends. And in that way, dirty pain is a temporary solution to avoiding the clean pain. Okay? So here's a second example. Another clean pain that is really common, I'm recording this episode in June. A lot of people send me messages, have children that are heading off to college in the fall. And so they're starting to worry really about having an empty nest. And they're going to experience the clean pain of their child leaving home. Okay, that is something that is going to happen come August. But right now, they're creating dirty pain and putting a ton of pressure on themselves in the kind of summer that they create for their kids. Many people are wanting to get these amazing memories and create all these fun memories before they go. And there's nothing wrong with that, unless you're using the idea that you can manage your summer in such a way to avoid the clean pain when they leave in August. Okay? And it's actually, in that situation, it's kind of a funny thing because their child is also experiencing their thoughts about clean and dirty pain, as they think about leaving for college. And so this summer, while the parents are trying to get in all these amazing last memories and soak up all the connection they can get, their child is actually trying to separate and is trying to manage the pain of leaving by doing all these separating things now. And, that ends up being a pretty difficult cycle for parents, because the more they try to pull their kids closer, the more their kids are trying to pull away. And both of those things are happening in an effort to manage the pain of separating in August. So you can see how just having an awareness of these concepts can help you understand what you're creating for yourself right now, right? If you understand what's happening, then instead of looping into this temporary solution, you can move towards the clean pain and just feel it and let it resolve on its own. Okay, I'm going to give you one more example, and that is this same phenomena can go on with even good things that are happening to you. That's how interwoven this idea of dirty pain is into our whole psyches, this adaptive mechanism. And that is, my daughter right now she's a college senior, and she's got 3 amazing opportunities for her right now, what she's going to do after college. And they are all very, very different from each other. It's not 3 different jobs. It's 3 totally different directions her life could go. And they're all amazing opportunities. Clean pain in this situation is the idea that no matter what she does, she's choosing not to do the other 2. This isn't a situation where she can have all 3. So clean pain is that grief of having to say no to a fantastic option. Dirty pain is what people do when they feel a ton of regret about their decisions, or they really cycle into how much they're going to miss out on. This concept is almost even harder with good things than it is with the bad things, because we want all the good things. And it can be really hard, unless you understand these ideas, to make decisions, because whatever you choose, you're not choosing the other 2 things. And we really loop into what we're missing out on with the choice that we don't pick. And that makes it really hard for us to pick anything. Even thinking it would be so great if I could pick this thing that I'm not picking, offers temporary relief from the pain of not picking it. You can see how it's a temporary solution. So if you're having trouble making decisions, that's very likely part of what's happening for you. If you need help sorting this out, absolutely reach out to me, Allie@allieirwin.com, because it can be really hard to separate out on your own. And part of the reason it's so hard to separate out on your own is dirty pain oftentimes is multiple versions of the same story. Where clean pain feels raw. Clean pain feels really present. If you cut your finger, you're not thinking about when you cut your finger when you were 3. You're feeling the actual nerve ending experience right then. Whereas dirty pain, oftentimes it's not present. It's repetitive. It's a story that takes you to your past, or it takes you to an imagined future that is some version of your past. It's usually some version of I'm not worthy, or nothing ever works out for me, or some self-critical thought like I'm not good enough. Instead of a super present feeling, it has this frantic energy to it. Dirty pain has us scrambling to get away from the pain. And it drives us to other temporary solutions like a cookie or Netflix or, whatever it is that we use to buffer ourselves from that pain. Dirty pain is demoralizing because it's such an old story and we've experienced it over and over and over. Makes us feel more powerless. And it feels really true, but it only feels true because it's something that I've told myself over and over and over and over. Okay, that's why it can be really helpful to have someone on the outside to help you see when you're in dirty pain, because you have likely told yourself that story so many times that you don't even recognize it as a story anymore. It's like the call is coming from inside the house. Like, it just feels like the truth to you. Okay? So what do we do? What we do is, when you are in pain, to just notice which of the two things this feels like. Does it feel like clean pain? Does it have that raw, present, primary emotions like mad, sad, glad, and afraid? Okay, those primary emotions. Whereas dirty pain has more muddled, frantic, old story, nothing ever works out for me, I'm not good enough, I didn't deserve this, like that kind of feeling to it. And if you are in that story, to not make yourself wrong for feeling dirty pain. Like I said, it's an adaptive human response that normal human brains do. There is no one that is evolved enough to avoid dirty pain. The trick is to just recognize it and ask yourself, what clean pain am I avoiding with this story? Oh, I'm avoiding feeling sad about my child leaving for college. I'm avoiding feeling sad that my business idea didn't work out. I'm avoiding feeling sad that I watched my child study really hard for something and still, or work really hard for something and still not get that thing that they wanted. And if you just allow yourself to feel that clean pain, to stay with yourself, to not leave yourself when you're in pain, those sensations will pass very quickly and you won't get stuck looping in that temporary solution. Okay, it was kind of a dense episode. If you have any questions or if you want help sorting out your situation, I want to help you. I want you to feel safe in your own situation. I want to help you create safety for yourself. I don't want you to be beating yourself up with dirty pain. So don't hesitate to reach out, Allie@allieirwin.com. Talk to you next week. Hey, if you enjoyed today's show and you want even more support and a shot of fresh inspiration in your email box each week, you have to get on my list. Sign up to receive my free guide on how to stop second-guessing yourself as a mom. There are so many decisions to make as a mom, and this guide will help you to make decisions and just move on. No more waking up 3 a.m. wondering if you made the wrong decision. This guide is so good. Even my non-mom clients are raving about it. So sign up today, and I will see you next week.